Hello and welcome back to the College Sports Superfan. We got a great video to get into today, talking about some huge, massive women's basketball matchups this week. A lot of them have to do with the ACC SEC challenge. Now, the SEC we just saw last night dominated in the men's basketball field. So let's get into it. What I think is going to happen in the women's basketball side. Let's jump right into it as this season is really heating up now. Okay. So, the first matchup I want to get into is the game going on tonight between Oklahoma and Louisville. Oklahoma is number 11 in the country, Louisville is number 22 in the country, but they are at home. The Sooners are much better in basically every single statistical category there is, with the exception of fouls. Louisville is a little bit more disciplined when it comes to fouling players. However, seniors Peyton Verhulst and Reagan Beers, are both coming off of dominant performances for the Sooners. Peyton Verhulst had 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists in an insane triple-double for Oklahoma, and Reagan Beers had 26 points in their last game. To me, they're just more talented. They've been way better than Louisville than in this season. They're 6-1. The Cards are 5-2. Both very solid. Louisville has the home court advantage. I don't think it's going to matter. I think as long as Oklahoma doesn't make any huge mistakes and as long as they avoid foul trouble, because Louisville's not a bad team when it comes to free throw shooting as well. So they have to control their emotions in this game. I think they'll be able to do that. It's not like a rivalry game or anything like that. I think the Sooners go on the road, win easily. Okay. Number 14, Kentucky at number 16, North Carolina. This is on Thursday. Again, all of my games are in chronological order just to make it easy for you guys. So, Kentucky at North Carolina. Let's get into this one. UK, just like their men's basketball team, their women's basketball team is a highly efficient offense as well. Their offensive rating is 108 compared to North Carolina's offensive rating of 92. This is just based on how they've played in the game so far. However, the other big key factor is that the Tar Heels have a terrible free throw rate. Their free throw shooting percentage is under 60%. In a close game, that's going to hurt North Carolina's women's team. The Cats also have impressive road wins over arch rival Louisville, and they've got an impressive win over Illinois. So you know what? I like Kentucky to come in, win this game by 6. SEC is up 2-0. Texas at Notre Dame. This is a huge one. Top 10 matchup. Texas is number 4 in the country. Notre Dame is number 10 in the country. This is also happening on Thursday. The Fighting Irish were riding high after that huge, impressive win over arch rival USC. Remember, I made a video talking about that where I thought USC, with the way they were playing with one of the best players in the country in Juju Watkins, with another great player in Kiki Uriafen, I thought they were going to go on the road, take down Notre Dame, but Notre Dame showed tremendous depth. They have terrific guard play from Hannah Hidalgo and Sonia Citron and Olivia Miles. All fantastic. The Irish came away with an impressive double-digit win over USC, but then Notre Dame followed that up with losing to TCU, which is not bad. We'll get into TCU a little bit later in this video, but then they also lost on the road against Utah. And losing to TCU is one thing, but losing to Utah is another thing. So now they've dropped down to number 10, but guess what? They're back at home. Texas is coming in, and Texas hasn't been very battle tested up to this point, except for West Virginia, who they just played. So Texas, on the other hand, averaging nearly 93 points per game. They have a 113 offensive rating, which is really, really, really good. But they struggled against West Virginia, who's the only good team that the only good team that they played. They only won by 5 points. West Virginia is a very solid team, but I think that shows that Texas, because they've played so many weak teams, is not ready to go on the road and play in an environment like this against a great team like Notre Dame. I truly believe the Irish, after back-to-back losses, are going to get their head on straight, win a massive game at home, and get right back on track. I say Notre Dame wins this game by 3. So now SEC only leads 2-1. I'm also not talking about all the smaller SEC, ACC matchups. So these are just among the big ones. All right. Duke taking on South Carolina. This is Thursday night. Duke is number 8 in the country. South Carolina, number 3 in the country. The Gamecocks have to figure some stuff out and Fortunately for them, they did. They dominated, absolutely dominated Iowa State in Florida. I knew that was going to be a tough one for the Cyclones, considering how South Carolina had just been humbled by UCLA. Now they had to go and find a way to bounce back. They absolutely did. Completely, that defense by Don Staley's team is still fantastic. They've got their struggles on offense and their inconsistencies on offense, but that South Carolina defense is really, really, really good. Duke, on the other hand, they're coming off of really impressive wins, though. They beat Kansas State and Oklahoma, who are both really good teams in the Big 12, but both those games were neutral site games in Henderson, Nevada. Their only true road game against a top tier team was uh, was on the road against Maryland, an arch rival of theirs, and they lost by 5 points. Maryland is a really good team. They're a top 10 team, but that was their only true road game on the road, taking on a team like that, and they lost. South Carolina has one of the toughest places to play. They're also, very even across the board with Duke. However, Duke has an advantage in forcing turnovers and getting assists. South Carolina has the advantage in rebounding. But these are all not huge advantages. It's all kind of splitting hairs. Ultimately, I think it comes down to the wire. It's a close game. South Carolina finds a way to win on the backs of their defense, wins this game by 3. Okay, so we've got a Big Ten clash now. The Big Ten conference starting off their conference slate fairly early. Number 6 USC taking on Oregon on the road. This is on Saturday, starting off a rivalry right out the gate, both entering the Big Ten conference, but having to play former Pac 12 foes as they do. Oregon has started out 6-0. They've got close wins with Baylor, and then they also won a close game against Auburn. Both of those games were by 2 points. Baylor and Auburn, both decent teams. Not super great, but not bad at all. But they've now lost back to back games. They lost to Georgia Tech, who's undefeated. They're a sleeper team. And then South Dakota State, who's always got a solid women's team. They should bounce back against Washington State tonight, though. The Cougars, often not a very good start. But overall, Oregon has shown that they're just kind of an average team so far. The Trojans, however, they responded strongly after they got knocked down by their arch rival, Notre Dame. Of course, already talked about that. USC, to me, though, they found a way to get their rhythm back. They're mad that they lost that game the way that they did, and they're going to go into Eugene. Even though Oregon has the home court advantage, that's basically the only advantage that they have. That's not going to be anywhere close to good enough to take down top 10 USC. All right, Tennessee at number 17, Iowa. Very intriguing game. It is in Brooklyn, New York, the first of 2 games in the Barclays Center there. Both teams dealing with brand new head coaches. The Lady Vols have a young new head coach named Kim Caldwell. She's been known for having fast paced offenses, shooting tons of threes back when she coached Marshall. And so far, listen to this stat by Tennessee. Tennessee is 5-0. They're averaging 98 points per game, and they're shooting just over 11.5 3-pointers per game compared to Iowa, who's only shooting 6.5 3-pointers per game. So Iowa definitely wants to go more inside. Tennessee's offensive efficiency rating is at a scorching 116, although Tennessee so far has not played the toughest of competition. Tonight, they're going to play Florida State in the SEC ACC Challenge. The Seminoles are 8-1. My prediction for that, Tennessee's going to win that game against Florida State, and then they're going to come into Brooklyn. I think they're going to find a way to beat Iowa to pull off the upset. The Iowa Hawkeyes, they have a new head coach as well. Lisa Bluter retired. They have Jan Jensen, who's a new head coach, but she's been with the program for years. This is technically her 25th season as a coach with the Iowa Hawkeyes, so she knows the brand, she knows the players, she knows the style that they want to keep working with. But no Caitlin Clark anymore. So far, Iowa's off to a really good start, but I think here Tennessee's offense is just going to be a bit too much for Iowa to overcome, and then they'll have to hope that they can bounce back in the Cy-Hawk rivalry on Wednesday. All right, let's move on. Just a couple more games to go here. Illinois at Iowa State. Illinois is number 21 in the country. Ohio State is number 12 in the country. This game is happening on Sunday. It's the Illinois rivalry. Illinois, so far, their one major advantage is they're battle tested. Ohio State has had a super weak, super easy schedule up to this point. This could give the Illini an edge here against Ohio State, but at the same time, can't overlook the fact that the Buckeyes are just better in every single statistical category, which I know I said the same thing about Kentucky going up against Clemson in the men's side, and that hurt me there as Clemson pulled off that upset. However, Clemson had home court advantage here. This time, Ohio State and the women's side has home court advantage, and they're way better across the board statistically. I think they find a way to win this game by 5. I think it's close because Illinois is a good team and they've been battle tested, whereas Ohio State has played weak competition. But I think the Buckeyes still win by 5 at home. And finally, number 9 TCU at number 3 South Carolina. This is on Sunday as well. TCU, a sleeper team heading into this season. They've got a lot of good players. They also brought in superstar Haley Van Lith, who continues to jump from one team to another, but this is her last stop. She's a senior. She's done after this season. She is the superstar point guard for TCU, and I felt like when she was at LSU didn't utilize her in the right way. They tried to put her kind of more at shooting guard. And to me, they didn't utilize her as a floor general in the same way that she's supposed to be used. She recognized that. She left LSU. She's now with TCU. The Horned Frogs are undefeated. They're 8-0. They play Florida Atlantic tonight. They should get that win, improve to 9-0 as they head into this game. Their assists are really high. They're playing really, really well as a team. So they've got a very efficient offense. Their offensive rating is 115. South Carolina, though, has that better defense. They've got a good rebounding team, and they've bounced back very strongly. I do think that they are going to beat Duke as well. I've already said that. So this is going to be a big-time matchup. It's going to be in South Carolina, one of the toughest places to go and win. However, I'm going to pick a shock upset. I'm going to say TCU, with the way that they're playing right now as a team, goes on the road, shocks South Carolina. They find a way to win an all-time thriller by 3 points. That is what I pick to finish off this video here. A shocking upset, TCU taking down South Carolina. All right, let me know what you guys think about these upcoming games. Which one are you the most excited for? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Let me know in the comments section below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you like this kind of content. And stay tuned for more of the College Sports Superfan.